the negatives and all that sort of stuff. It was just such a healthy time. What our parents didn't know is quite often we'd sneak out at night and we'd go onto one of those rocks. By the way, the tide is out there, and we'd stay on the rock with the rug all night. And then the tide will go back in and we'd go home, parents none the wiser. So we thought. So that's Penguin Beach. And some of those rocks there, we know them all. And it's just, as I said, the tide is out. And that's where I did all my surf club training. And I used to, somehow when I looked at the title today, so here we are, that's what I said then. But you know, the soul growth, the soul urge pushes us on, whether we like it or not. It won't let go. So here I am and here are you. And we look back at this time, 2003, and what are some of the events that brought us here? Anyway, here we are, and what a place to be. This beautiful sanctuary with these wonderful teachings, ancient wisdom, condensed down into a few principles so that people like myself can understand them. But as we know from that song, you can read and do all that sort of stuff, it's putting them into practice. Another law is the law of circulation, which states that you have to be willing to give on a physical level if you want to receive. And I was reading an article of Wayne Dyer the other day. I'm cleaning out a lot of stuff, but I kept this one. And the interviewer said to him, how do you go about the law of attraction? Do you do this, that, and the other thing? And he says, you attract what you are. And quite often we don't know what we're sending out there. The subconscious vibes and things like that that have been hanging around like a ghost for all our lives. But isn't it good as we use our meditation and contemplation, we can go deeper, and that still small voice, which I'll be referring to a little bit later, has a nudge and a say in a few things. Many of us have cleared out stuff from the past year over year over year. It was good at the time, wasn't it? Some of the things we collected. And I look back, and I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again because it's just an eye-opener. All the different stages of life I went through. I collected sheet music, and I've got a garage full of it. I had great ideas with it. I had an idea whether we put Bing Crosby singing White Christmas up on the wall, and you press a button and you hear the sound. I got that idea from Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco when I went there. There's a great big wall, and it's got all the people like Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin, and you touch the wall and you hear their sound. So I had a vision of doing that in my front lounge room, opening the door because it was on street level, and letting people come in on a Sunday afternoon. But I've changed. I don't want to do that anymore. And I've got all this old music, all these old hymn books, music boxes is another thing. But I know somewhere there is someone that will want them. So I'm putting it out, not to throw them out, because they gave me so much joy that I'm giving them to people to start where they are. Because I know that when I first got this ancient hymn book, I thought, wow, this is rare and it's wonderful. And as I've collected them over the years, they're sitting on top of an old harmonium, and I'm just gradually putting them in boxes, and off they go. But you've got to be careful, because as you give, so you receive. We had a situation down here in our garage. Hello, Richard, welcome along. Good to see you. You're in that garage that was full of stuff. Lorraine knows this. And we'd get rid of it. We had some very energetic members. We get rid of it, and then gradually it filled up again and again and again. And that's what it can be like. So, one thing we can't give away, and that is the desire to be. To be, that is the spirit in us, wanting and urging us to be the most expansive instrument for it, wherever we are, whatever life circumstances. and we can't live without it, and it will never leave us. Now, we didn't invent it. This is the thing I like to stress. We all say, I am the creator, I'm going to do this, this, and this, but we're using that power that we didn't invent. In the paper this morning, I didn't have a chance to read it properly, but there's not a new, but a star is approaching the sun. It's not a new star, it's been there forever. It's just we're now aware of it. And as old Revelation says, everything is under the sun has been there, and when we're ready, we'll see it. And we see it differently. That beach, for example, to me, that was huge. When I go back now, which I haven't been for a couple of years, which I need to, and throw myself in the water, that looks small now. I used to be terrified at swimming up to some of those end rocks when I was young, not when I was older. But I'd just like to do that again, but I'll make sure the surf club are there when I do it this time. And but we've still got a few there that I keep in touch with from the old surf club days. And they're very healthy old guys, they really are. And I put myself in that situation as well. So we can't give away that power. It's in us. We can't lose it. We have to use it. In this case, use it or lose it. Well, maybe not. It uses us. If we don't use it, well, the end is in sight, I would say, for this income. What a waste of time. And that's what these teachings are about, to show us that we can use this power. I spoke to someone the other day, and they said, I'm ready to go. I said, why? You're only 75. And she said, no, I'm tired of this life. And I thought, oh, stop it. No point in giving her a book. She's just set in her ways, and so she goes about her stuff. And, I just think you're just a step away. People have been put into your path for you to listen to and take note. Angels, unaware, are all around us. How often do we not know this or take advantage of it? Sometimes we think it's left us. You can sit there and think, oh, look, this prayer's going nowhere. And you wonder what it's all about. What have I been wasting my time on? The dark night of the soul. It's not a pleasant experience, but it comes and it goes as we move on to another level of awareness. So every time we say the word I am, let's be very, very careful, because we're putting whatever we say into the atmosphere to be worked on. And if this great power left us, well, we would cease to be. We are the canvas as well as the paints, as the brushes, as we express what we desire in life, and we reap the consequences of our creative thinking, good or not so good, which is a big one, isn't it? Look at people writing their books and things in the media these days, and not referring to anyone in particular, but, my goodness, what mayhem has been created. I wonder if people wake up to this eventually, and what would they do? You have to hide in a cave or something when that awareness changes. Genesis 2:28, God created everything and saw it was good and said, take dominion. Everything was already created for us. So we just have to take advantage of it. And we can create on top of that within divine law. I like Greg Braden's book, The Divine Matrix, because he talks about bridging science and spirituality. He explains in modern language, thank goodness, what has always been yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Being brought up in the Methodist Church, as you've heard me say, the old King James Version, I know a few of us still like that old book, and I can still quote some of the more thunderous verses in it. But they've been sort of softened with some of the newer editions. To me, they don't quite mean the same, but anyway, so time has come to embrace the association of science and spirituality. It's the same thing. Everything is the same. Religious teachings call it one thing, science calls it another. And I look at the work of interfaith we've done. Funnily enough, Richard, that you should be here, because Richard, you've done so much for interfaith over the years, and you've had programs and you've worked with the local government, and you think, did anything achievable come from it? And I say, yes. Took a while, and it's taking a while. And Sylvia, you and Rhonda, we had 10 years of interfaith meetings, 2 to 3 a year sometimes. And I was looking up the Ballarat Interfaith group, and they're doing some wonderful things too. I've met a couple of the Sikhs there, and some of them are the ones that take meals all around Australia. And I said to him, you know, isn't that amazing? Because if you're hungry, you're really not interested in anything spiritual. And his answer was quite interesting. And I don't know whether he got what I meant or not. He said, we don't do it even for that. He said, we just give them meals. And that's it, isn't it? That's unconditional love, regardless. We can look back over the different names creeds have given it. The Buddhist Sartras envision it as a net spreading out in all directions. The Hopi Indians spoke of it as a spider grandmother who spins a web connecting all things. The Chinese used to call it the Tao, or the Way. We've got Allah, Buddha, Christ, Krishna, Shiva, quantum theory, conscious intelligent mind, and others. The Kahunas have got theirs as well. Regardless of the names, it's the belief and feeling behind the names that invokes its power. One of the epiphanies Greg Braden shares, that's well known to travellers on the path, is that feeling is the language that speaks to the divine matrix. Feeling. And when I was young, you think, well, does God understand Italian, Greek, my father's Scottish accent? Does he understand this? Well, it's not even that. It's just it. And we feel. And that's what I was thinking about before when I read the other article, that it's the feeling that counts. What we are, we're attracting because of that law of attraction. So when we pray, we feel as if our goal is accomplished and our prayer is already answered. This is much clearer than the King James Version, which says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." You don't have to be pure in heart to find out that law of attraction works. Now, spiritual groups, not necessarily religious groups, often refer to the heart as the feeling body. And we know that prayer is more than the words we utter, than sort of dear God and amen. Positive thoughts won't mask a fearful vibration, but affirmations and denials are practical ways to help us into a positive state. Now, to sum up, do I have a New Year resolution? Well, for once, I don't think I have. Well, yes, I do. I think the golden rule. I want to see harmony everywhere. We are not an island unto ourselves. We need each other, as we've seen over the last 2 years. The most humble people have been serving us in the most ridiculous, terrible circumstances at the supermarket. You know, everywhere you go, the garage, people are serving us. And I think I've just taken note of that more in the last couple of years. Now, I don't know if I've got this right. Thich Nhat Hanh, is that the correct pronunciation? Thich Nhat Hanh, it's good to have that right. We are all leaves of the one tree. We are all waves of the one sea. As spirit in action, we are taking responsibility for what we are putting out there. No one wants to hear that, really. Now, today, on the occasion of our burning bowl, is a perfect opportunity for us as we declare our denials and affirmations. Matthew 8 says, where two or more are gathered in my name, I shall be there. I am in the midst of them. So there we are. We've got this collective power here today, not just one of us, but collective. And where that happens, the power is amplified, electrified, and demonstrated. As we release the old, or what is called old, and what is needed, we let go joyfully. Because as I said earlier, it gave us great pleasure, a lot of the stuff that we consciously collected. Not all of it, but some of them were lessons along the way, so we should give thanks for them as well. And as we move into January, we discover the power of faith. This is represented by the disciple Peter. The colour is blue, and the location is in the pineal, the third eye. This year, 2023, we'll still be contemplating the 12 powers, but the theme from Unity Worldwide Ministries is living a year of grace and gratitude. So many blessings to you as we contemplate this year. Thank you.